Okay, so here is our first video lesson, simplifying expressions, and we are going to utilize some of the example problems off the Delta Math for which you'll be doing your homework to teach the concepts. Now really most of this should be review for you, but it's critical that we understand how to simplify expressions before we move on to solving equations. So one of the first things we want to note here is if we look, we notice that this is an expression because there is no equal sign. So when you are doing simplifying, you want to follow your order of operations. Okay, so we should be familiar with that. We refer to it a lot of times as PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. When we move to solving, we do reverse order of operations. We'll do the complete opposite. So in this particular case, we are going to do simplifying. So what we want to deal with first are our parentheses. So right here, you notice this is distribution, so distributive property. So I want to distribute that -3 here and multiply. So when I do that, I get 9w, negative times negative becomes a positive 3w, negative times negative again becomes positive 24. I look for my like terms. These are my two like terms. If I combine those, then I get 12w plus 24. And that's what you would type in, submit answer. One of the things you may want to do is click an example just to make sure you can look and see how exactly they want the answers typed in. Okay, here's our next example, very similar to the previous one. So again, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our distributive property. So negative times negative again would become a positive. So I got 10k plus 30k. And then negative times positive becomes a negative 20. Now again, these are my like terms because they're the same variable with the same exponent. We'll talk a little bit more about like terms as we move on. So 10 plus 30 is 40, so again we get 40k. Now again, what we're doing is we're just adding the coefficients here, the 10 and the 30. So 40k minus 20. Now on to our example. Okay, again, similar. Going to do distributive here. So one of the things I would suggest to you is if you're doing your work, write this on your desk so you can at least look at it. You do have some retries on these, so if you make a mistake, at least you've got your work there and possibly can identify your mistake before you submit an answer. So negative times negative is again positive, so we get 28m. Negative times negative is positive, plus 40m. And negative times negative is positive, 16. And then minus 2m. Combine your like terms. So 28 and 40 is 68. 68 minus 2 is 66m. And then positive 16. Now, there was another way you could have done this problem, and some of you may have been looking and said, I wouldn't have done it that way. So let's go back and let's look at a second way we could have done this. See if we get the same answer. So rather than do distributive property first, again, remember, order of operations, parentheses, I could have gone ahead and combined these two as they are similar terms or like terms. So I get -4, -7 minus -10 is a -17m minus 4 minus 2m. Now I could do distributive property. And that gives me negative times negative is positive, so I get 68m. Negative times negative is positive, positive 16 minus 2m. Then 68 minus 2 is 66m plus 16. So I end up with the same answer. So again, one of the things I want you to learn in the context of this class is there are different ways to do this. I'm just here to facilitate the concepts and the learning, but you do it however makes sense to you as long as it is mathematically correct.